I'll just wait till I go live here with you guys. Yay! I am always very excited when things work out the way they're supposed to. I plan for it, but just got to get it to happen. So I'll wait till the comments come up because I went live early. Like it's not supposed to start for a few minutes. So just waiting for you guys to get here. There you are. Hello. Is this the right one? Yes, it is. Oh my goodness. So let me just go. I got to find you on my YouTubes because I went to change it in Facebook so people could find us. So just give me a sec, friends, so I can find you when I flip the camera so I can still comment. How you guys doing? Happy Friday. There I am. Yay. So we'll give everybody a second because, you know, I just want to make sure you're paying attention and nothing can just go easily. Hi, Irene. How you doing, friend? You hanging in there? Hello, Melanie. Hi, Janice. Tony. Hello, Natalie D'Souza. How are you? My first time live here. Yay, Claudia. And you get to see what a hot mess I am. Rebecca. Hello, friend. How are you? Yolinda, Cynthia, Heather, Tony, Kathy. Hi. Happy Friday. Hi, Tina. Hi, Beth. Hi, Sharon. How are you? Julie. How you doing? So, you know, I say it every Friday. I literally, for reals, can't believe it's Friday. I have no clue where this week went. I think I must have been sleeping through it all. Do you ever feel like that? Like, I'm like, it cannot be Friday already. I have not got enough accomplished. I do not feel like I got as much done this week as I needed to. A few emotional breakdowns too this week has been very hard. But they always say, right, grief is a weird thing. I can be completely fine and then a hot mess. And that is what I've been this week. Completely fine and then a hot mess. I need to have that on a t-shirt. Some days I'm completely fine and then I'm a complete hot mess, right? Guys, I want to get my Christmas tree up. That's what my goal is this weekend. It was supposed to go up last weekend. I was supposed to have a whole bunch of stuff posted on my website, but none of that happened. So I'm working on it. I'm working on instructions. Everything is laid out. I've started them. So I'm doing that this weekend. I'll be writing instructions, cleaning my house, getting my Christmas tree up. That's all I will commit to. And then the rest of the stuff can happen next week. So a delay. I will get the new stencils I'm using tonight and I used last week posted because then the instructions are done. Then I'm free. And on top of it, I've been working on my new collection, which is incredibly time consuming and fun, but we are wrapping that up and we only have the papers left. So that frees up my time, right? Today was a weird day for me too, missing my mom. Yes, Heather, I hear you. I went and did my Christmas urns, which I go by myself, especially this year. I just needed to just do that. And I was fine and enjoying it and smiling. And I went into a watering can and got a cup of tea and proceeded to burn my mouth. Oh my goodness. I don't know what they make tea with. Like it's the nuclear hot, the water, right? And it sat there for a while and still burnt my mouth. And I went and got one extra plant and some filler. And then I was walking out to the car and it just totally started to cry. Like it just totally started to cry for the weirdest things. It's just, you know, it's just a funny thing. And I thought that the grief kind of happens when it's immediately after. And I feel like maybe that's not the case. Maybe it happens 3 months after. I don't know. So very weird. I don't want to bring everybody down, but it's kind of, you know, you're here and I'm talking to myself for the most part while you guys, like, I interact with you. But that's, the week has been very odd. And so my friends too, who have gone through menopause, I used to make fun of my mom because she would like just rage like for nothing. And I've had 2 bouts of it this week where I feel ragey, where I laugh. I don't rage, but like the kids are talking to me and I'm like, I just want you to know, you probably should stay away from me because I feel like I'm going to lose it. Like I feel like I have no control over my emotions. So tell me if any of my friends out there, women, man, we kind of get like a lot of bonuses and then the short end of the stick. So that is, I have no clue what is going on, but right, it's just, I am a really happy-go-lucky girl, right? And then all of a sudden, like tonight I felt it, like I will just like feel like angry for no apparent reason. It just, so yeah, you might want to stay away from me sometimes, but I just say, like I just say, I really feel like you shouldn't talk to me. I'm gonna go sit by myself. I really need to be by myself because I don't want anybody else to have to deal with this, right? I want everybody else. So that happened, for nothing. Like they're like, why? And they're laughing at me, and I'm like, you can laugh because it really is kind of funny. Like it's so strange that you have no control over what's going on in all of this. So I've never felt that before, but my mother used to, and Rich would talk about his mom too. Would do you remember Capodimontes? The like you used to buy their like porcelain flowers, and it's a thing. You can probably look it up. That she got mad and her drawer on her dresser wouldn't close. And so she just started slamming the door and broke one of her Capodimontes. And it is true. Like you just want to go crazy. So I had a couple of those this week too. So maybe that's why I'm like, I don't know how it's Friday. I think I was in some kind of coma this week, right? So I laugh, right? I kicked my husband out of the room because I couldn't stand his breathing. Yes, Paul. And you can't explain it, but you're like, look, the feelings are real. Like it's very real and intense, and I'm kind of feeling it. And if you guys are younger, don't be afraid. You know, there's lots of awesome stuff that comes, I think, with getting older too. It's like I wish I could bottle like what I've learned now, and I could know those things like when I was 20. Man, I would have just got so much more things done if I would have had that. But isn't it crazy? Like I feel bad for the people around us, right? I told my hubby, you ought to see it from my side. Hubby said, you ought to see it from my side. That's hilarious. True facts, right? But yeah, and the grief part, right? It's funny. And you guys, a lot of you are amazing because you'll be like, you know, I lost my mom a year ago and this is kind of how I feel, and it's 3 years and this is kind of how I feel, and I'm sure all of us go through the stages differently, but it's kind of weird. And I think, to be completely honest with you, I have not dealt with it. I just keep myself busy. So I think it's in the quiet moments where it just kind of hits me, like for no reason. And especially, like I went and got my hair did today. And my stylist, Jerry, was my mom's hairdresser first. And we have been 30 years. I think I've gone to her for 30 years. So my relationship with her is longer than my relationship with my husband. Isn't that crazy? So when we were talking about my mom today, both of us started to cry because, you know, it's a whole different thing when somebody really can share it or understand it. So just weird, just weird. And then I feel good and life just keeps going on, and I'm just going to live the best one, right? And bringing us to Friday nights. I never understood how therapeutic doing something creative and spending the time with you guys, how important it was. Like I always loved it. I always loved it. I've been doing it for years and years and years, but I'm very thankful for this. So very thankful for this. And tonight, so last week, I have to find it. I don't know where I put it from last week because I was cleaning. And you know what that's like. I was cleaning, so now I can't find anything. Where we added the gesso as like a technique on top. And then this week, we're going to do another mixed media background where we layer stencils. but then I used a cup. You can use stamps, you don't have to, but I thought I like to make this all-inclusive crafting, right? Art for everyone. So try to find things that everybody hopefully can have on hand, that you don't have to have any special tools. So I'm going to use a plastic cup for my circles. So we're going to do a whole mixed media background where we layer the pattern. We're going to do the kissing technique with the distress ink, and then we're going to layer some stencils, and then we're going to ink it up a little bit with the ink blending tool, set it with a heat gun, and then we're going to create a pattern in the background with a cup, and then we're going to paint around it. And then the fun thing is, because I didn't take it to the next level, because I did this just tonight before I went up and had supper. But after we go in and then paint around these circles with the gesso, and the reason I use gesso is it's a matte finish and it has lots of opacity. So the biggest thing when you go to layer the gesso, because you're putting wet on reactive inks, is we're going to do kind of like a dry layer, and that kind of sets the ink underneath it. And then we have to layer it in thin layers. You don't want to go on thick, right? So, then what happens is I went in and thought, it'll be kind of fun. What if I ink around those circles? But then gesso resists the distress ink. So I just took a script stamp, put a baby wipe on it to make it wet, and then lifted the ink off. Can you see it right here? That script. So we're going to play. It's going to take a while. And then I am not here next Friday, because this Wednesday is the prep class for Wrapped in Ribbons, and then we're actually going experiences over a whole bunch of gifts this year. So we're going to go to Toronto next weekend to go and see the Christmas Village at the Distillery District. And we're going to go, they have a couple Christmas themed restaurants and pop-up cocktail bars and stuff. And we're going to do that and go see some different things. So I'm taking the weekend off next weekend. And then the following weekend, we roll right into Wrapped in Ribbons. So I'm very excited. It's going to be good. So let me flip the camera and let's roll right into it. You need a piece of foundations paper. You need to grab the ink you want to use. I went with blues and greens, right? I went with blues and greens. So I'm using Selvage Patina, Cracked Pistachio, Evergreen Bough, and Uncharted Mariner. And then you need gesso. You need a mister, paper towels. And it's going to be fun, right? It's going to be fun. So let me flip the camera. Oh, and the stencils. And like I said, friends, I'm going to get all this up, the Disney kit, and list all of the new this week. So it's happening, because once the instructions are done, oh my goodness, I'm not even going to know what to do with myself, because I'm caught up for a week. I'll be caught up for a week. Because what's funny is with the collection, we're wrapping it up and just doing the papers, and then we have to roll right into Christmas. I have to literally start designing next year's Christmas collection. So that'll be fun. But it's good. It's all good, right? Yay! There, you get to see the mess. And a little Blair Witch for a minute. So did I miss anything? Yes, access only will go up on Monday. 100% access only will go up on Monday, because I will have the prep class information ready and all the links for the videos. So yes, it'll go up on Sunday or Monday. Okay, and I'll send a newsletter out. Oop. I always have to move it. Nobody needs to see my belly. Did I miss any questions or anything? Let me take a quick look. Yes, because it's Thanksgiving for everyone next weekend too, right? So it'll work out well. Yeah, Natalie, I'll let you know. We're going to be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'll let you know where we're staying. You're not late, Connie. I messed up and gave you the wrong link. So there's 2 of these up there. I didn't delete the other one just yet. So hopefully everybody can find us. And then I will also explain what you need for tonight. So you're spending Christmas week in Toronto and Barrie this year. Your daughter can't make it home to Winnipeg, so we're going to her in Toronto. I love that, Krissa. You're going to have such a great time. Question, do you use Canada Post or something else while they're on strike? So Wendy, I do have a UPS option through Shopify that I think for the most part is competitive. So I'm going to do that. Otherwise, I will wait until, because I don't want you guys have to pay a ton for the shipping, right? Do you think the foam blender works better than the brushes? I like it better, Jennifer. It's my personal preference. I know a lot of the stampers love the blending brushes. I'm OG, old school. I like my foam blending tool. So I don't know if one is better than the other. It's just what I use, right? I don't know if one is better than the other. It's just what I'm used to. So did I answer the questions? Because I'm looking right now. So if I missed anything, let me know. Yeah, that's hard, Irene. I only had water damage in my basement, and that was rough just going through, because you know we store so much stuff in our basement. I can't imagine your whole house, right? Question, do you think the foam blenders were, oh, I answered that already, right, Jennifer? Okay, good. So I think I'm up to date. Let me make sure, instead of top chat, I have live chat, and we'll roll right into it. Good. Very good. Here we go. So yeah, I do have the option for UPS, and I think the rates are actually very competitive in Canada. It doesn't affect me shipping anything to the US because it doesn't go through Canada Post. But I've only had a couple orders come in that I have to go over and do tomorrow. And I'm going to use UPS for those to get them out. But yes, like I said, the strike, what it's affecting the most, I think, are small businesses. So I'm hoping that they get a resolution, because, you know, I'm sure what they're fighting for is needed. I just feel that I hope this is the worst time of year. But I'm sure it comes to this time of year because hopefully they get a resolution faster, because people are going to freak out because it's Christmas time and people still mail lots of stuff, right? So what I did here, I went with my color palette. I was going with a cool palette, and only reason I added pink, are you ready for it, is because this blending tool was sitting here with pink on it. And I just wanted to do something that's contrasty. But as you watch this process come together, you can decide. Like, you could come in here with gray, would be beautiful. Like, if you want more of a neutral. I wouldn't, just the only thing I wouldn't do is, well, you could come in here with like a dark blue if you wanted to. But I would like, I like something that's a little contrast to the colors I'm using already. So this is going to be fun. So let's get started. You need a sheet of foundations paper or a heavier card. You need a sheet of plastic to deliver your pigment. It's going to be fast. I'm going to roll through this pretty quick to deposit all that pattern and color on the background. I'm going to fill pretty much most of the page. And then once that's done, I will just give it a final heat set. And then I'm going to take a cup, and you just decide which side. If you have a big red Solo cup instead, or any kind of little plastic cup, we're going to go and create the pattern that we want. And then we're going to paint around the whole pattern with gesso. We're going to do it in light layers with a fairly dry brush to start, because that will seal the pigment underneath. We'll dry it with a heat gun, and then we'll put a second layer or third layer on top, because what that's doing is creating that opacity. But I love that I still can see a hint of the pattern underneath. And then I just, as a fluke, layered some of the ink on top and was able to stamp through it. But I want to show you something. Remember, distress ink resists oxide, or resists, gesso resists distress ink. So look what happens if I come in here. I can wipe that right off. So that's actually fun. Look at what's happening there. That layer can be just a tinted layer if you want to do that too. It's sat here for a while, so it's still going to stain the gesso a little bit, but very fun. Okay, there is some weird stuff going on. It says that the chat was disconnected for a minute, but now it's just, Can somebody comment? Okay, it's working again. Technology, man. They change things and I guess they think it's for the better, and then sometimes I'm like, I don't know if it's better. I don't know who comes up with some of the ideas thinking it's better, right? Okay, so I have my sheet of foundations paper. So foundations paper is a heavyweight art paper with a smooth finish, and it is 140 pound, 300 GM2, says whatever the paper stuff means, but it's just a heavier weight card and it holds wet mediums. So this is what I'm going to be using. When you wipe it with a tissue, so you know what I think could be cool, Deborah, is you could put your first layer on, let it set or heat set it, wipe it with a tissue to have a wash, and then you could go in with a second color that's darker, stamp through, and then that lighter color instead of white would shine through, which could be really fun. So, hello, Dawn and Serenity. How are you? You didn't notice anything when I wiped it? Well, it's been on there for a little bit, so let me put it in a new section and you'll notice, okay? So see, white section right here. Deposit pink, right? You can see pink right there, correct? So gesso resists this ink. So if I come in here, I'll get a brand new baby wipe and I can take it right off. See? No pink. So that is why when you go in here, this is wet, so it's going to be hard for me to deposit, but I'll try it again. So let's say I go in here with the pink again. I missed my stamp. I'm going to lift a little bit of that water. Well, because it resists, I can then go in at the end and stamp and then get that really soft text on there. So that's the idea. We're going to play and come up with something. So now when I wipe it off, the pink is staining. Oh, I got it off. I'm not ready to commit there. Not ready to commit. So you do need a heat gun. And let's get started. We're going to deposit color. So how I'm going to break my background, my white, how I'm going to start this is depositing with what I call the kissing technique. Some people call this the packaging technique. Whatever technique you want to call it is fine with me. I am going to start with my lightest, so I'll go with some selvage patina, and I'm only going to deposit it in certain areas. I don't want all the colors to be in all the spaces. I want to have some selvage patina, some cracked pistachio, a little bit of evergreen bough, and then maybe some charted mariner. But I want them to be on their own, and then we'll overlap some of it, okay? So to break this page using watercolor, I love the kissing technique because you don't have to Picasso it. You can literally deposit pigment without really overthinking it. Less is more. You can always add, but you can't take away. So don't put too much ink on your background. So I am going to do the kissing technique. So I'm going to put maybe 3 ounces of selvage patina. I love this color. On a sheet of plastic. You could use anything that has a little bit of stability. Like you wouldn't want to use saran wrap for this one. You want something, even packaging. Like if you have some clear packaging, the back of stamps, the backing on a set of stamps, but you just want it to be able to move so you can add water and deposit your color, or not too thin where you can't control it. So Jennifer, question, if you would heat set that pink, would you then not be able to wipe it off? It might leave a halo of pink, but you still could remove some of it because the gesso has, like, it's a non-porous surface, right? It has something in it that seals that surface. So the distress ink has nothing to soak into, and because it's not a permanent ink, it is a reacting ink, it is a water-soluble ink, then you could, in essence, remove it. Do you need to seal it or anything? No, unless it's something you'd be touching. Like if you're putting it on an album cover, maybe you wouldn't do this technique if you're touching it all the time, because you will lift that ink off. But for something that's going to go inside a page cover, like a page protector, you'd be fine. On a card, test it. But the ink will, if your finger's wet, you could remove it, right? Hi, Dandy, how are you? So water. I'm not blending it or anything. I'm just gonna boop, kiss some pigment down, okay? Oh, look at that. That's beautiful deposit of color. How easy was that, right? Little kissing technique. And maybe a little bit up here. And before I heat set it, I'm going to deposit all 4 of my colors. And then I'll go in and heat set it and do another layer. So I'm going to wipe what's on here off. And now, how about we go in, I'm going to go in with Evergreen Bow next. So your palette does not have to be this type of palette, but I'd keep it close. Like you could do yellows and oranges, or you could do some pinks, whatever you want, or browns or neutrals or greens, whatever you want to do, okay? This one up here, I'm going to kiss, turn my page a little. Woo, yeah, I love it. Maybe some down in this corner. It just starts laying out my pattern. And I find then that big sheet of white isn't scary. I have something going on, something started. So let's go in with a little cracked pistachio. Doesn't need to be too wet, right? Okay, cracked pistachio, 2 blasts. And where do I want to put this? Maybe right here? Oh, look how yummy that is. That green is so pretty. Maybe a little up in this corner. Okay, I don't want that line, so I'm going to break that up. Wipe that off, and let's go in with a little Uncharted Mariner. Can you use oxides? You sure can. Now, look at only 1 squeeze of that because it's so much darker. They're just different inks, right? They're not as transparent. They have a little chalkiness, so they will react differently, but yes, they will work. You just get a little different result. I don't want that to be a big blob of ink. So now I'm going to kiss that right in here. Oh, look at that. It deposits beautifully. And maybe up the middle a little bit. And then I think I will dry this and then deposit my next layer of color. I'm going to put that pigment back in to the page so it's not off the edge. And now I'm going to heat set this. So you notice I went light to dark because dark is scary to start your whole background with because it takes over, right? So something like this is lighter and I can layer other colors on beautifully. So I do that. Now, I just want you to know, if you don't heat set and you let these things dry, you will get a different result than when you force it with heat. So as you go along and you experiment and play, try doing some backgrounds where you kind of do some of the stuff and you set it aside and let it dry and don't heat it. And see how when that pigment just soaks into the paper and dries naturally, that you will get a different result than if you heat it. It pushes it to the edge and you get those sharp edges where the pigment all gathers. I'm sure it is like a chemistry thing or a physics thing. Like, what is that called? Like it's a surface tension thing, right, on the other edge. So just be aware of that you will get different results when you heat set than you will if you let it dry naturally. Now, I'm not going to bake it like a cookie. I'm just removing water so I can layer the next layer of pigment on top. If I try to layer while it's wet, all the ink pools together. And I just want the ability to build my color and fill some of my spaces in, okay? Now, where a lot of that water and ink is pooled, I'm going to also pick it up with my paper towel because I don't want it to be super dark. I want those areas to be on the lighter side on this one. So I will pick that extra pigment up. So my only purpose right now is to dry this enough so I can do my next layer of pigment. Okay. Hi, Virginia. How are you? Hi, Vicky. Hi, Vicky from Vicky. I love it. Popping in on your lunch break. I love that. Where are you, Marnie? Okay. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to layer some more pigment. And I will start again in the same order in Australia. How's the weather in Australia? How are things down under? So crazy, right? So crazy that we are able to connect from all over the world on the YouTubes. I love it. So I'm going to go in with my selvage patina and I'm going to build some depth. So I'm going to add it again to this section because I've already established that pattern. When I layer the next pattern, it won't take this away. It will layer a whole pattern on top. Hot and sunny. I love it. I was talking to my friend Michelle, making plans for my next visit. So be watching because I will be back in New Zealand and Australia, if everything works out well, at the end of the year in 2026. So not next year, but the year after. We're going to start planning it because it takes that long, right? We had a little bit of, it was so weird, Natalie, it was 11 degrees Celsius here, but we had like a snow rain. Do you know what I mean? But no, not really. It hasn't been cold. It's crazy. Like, I don't think I've had a jacket on yet. I just wear a sweater. You're watching me on an airplane, Nancy? I love that. So I layered that one. I'm drying this between now because I want to build some depth. So this is an all over pattern on this one, right? No snow here either. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. It's stinking hot here and my air conditioner has decided not to work. That's not fun, Wendy. Should it be that hot? Yes, it's summer there, right? Question. How do you handle the long flight from Ontario to Australia? I have always wanted to go, but couldn't handle the flight. You fly overnight, for sure, that night change. Compression socks, 100%. I will watch movies, and I'll take a Gravol and go to sleep. But I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I just know that, and I bring like something that covers my eyes and earplugs, because I feel like you need that. But I don't find it bad. Get up and move around. But compression socks for any flight, I think that's over 5 hours. You should wear compression socks so that you don't get blood clots in your legs. It can be a bad thing. So that would be one of my things. And the other thing, when I have my compression socks on and I take them off when we land, I literally feel more rested and my body feels better. Yeah, and I'm gonna say something, and if you think this is wrong, just let it go. That's what Vicky does. Somebody told me a long time ago, have a Gravol, and when you're on those long haul flights, they give you wine. I have one glass of wine, and I take my Gravol, and I can sleep for a bit. And then I hit the ground running, and then just go to bed early and have a good night's sleep. But I find that the jet lag doesn't bother me until I come home. It's not usually when I'm going anywhere, it's when I come back. But the compression socks, 100%. 100%. Very important to wear compression socks on long flights. I'm watching while I make supper. I love that, Tara. What are we having tonight? What are you making? You got a few inches here in Northwest Indiana, about an hour south of Chicago. But it's weird, right? Like, who out there is finding, like, normally you've had a good snowfall and it's warm here. Like I said, I'm making my Christmas urns and I felt like I was in Florida. Like, that is crazy. Compression socks are my best friend daily now. They're a game changer for fibromyalgia and arthritis pain. True. It's true facts. You can find some really good ones out there. Mac and cheese. I love it. Same here. The time adjustment once home is more difficult for me. That's what I feel. Like, that's what I feel, is that I really suffer. I'm going to blend a little bit of the ink now into some of the other colors, okay? But I don't need to go crazy. I just want a couple of those like little boop boop dots and stuff, okay? Calgary's getting 25 centimeters this weekend. I love it. Hi, Lori. While you're doing your Christmas sewing, looks great so far. Thank you. What are you sewing? What is Christmas sewing consist of? What does Christmas sewing consist of? Okay, I'm gonna bake that. I'll lift that extra color. Aw, that's so nice. Lori, see, you want Lori for a friend because she can make you pajama pants. Where you're in air, where's Airdrie? Hunkering down for the weekend. Where's Airdrie? I think we suffer from jet lag when we return because of the sadness from returning from the trip, and laundry, Louisa, and the sadness of having to wash all of your clothes. I would like to be able to like just throw my underwear and stuff away, buy new ones when I get home. I don't want to do laundry, right? But yeah, it probably is. And having to go back to work and regular, right? That is in Calgary. Okay, I didn't know where that was. Thank you, friends. So I'm going to go in with a little bit more. I don't know if I did it. Cracked pistachio. Laundry and having to cook, because usually when we're away, like, I don't have to cook my own food, so maybe that is part of the problem. I have to come home and get back to real life and cook and do all the stuff that maybe I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I would like somebody else to cook and make my bed. Hello, Sarah. How are you, friendly friend? Okay, so let's dry that up. Oh no, Keisha. I'm sorry that you have the vid. It's no fun. It's exhausting. Here's another thing. Tell me how you feel about this. I feel like the time change, I think I talked about this last week. It's kicking me in the butt. And I don't know if I have ever felt like that before. I'm tired, and I'm not generally tired all the time. And this week has been where, you know, at the end of the day, I'm done. I'm like, yep, done. I'm tired. I'm ready for bed. And normally, right, is I can go. I can stay up late, do all the things. I think that's why also I'm not getting as much accomplished, because normally I would do that at night, like when I'm done doing all the other things, and I have not been staying up late. No more 3 a.m.s. I go to bed. I'm asleep by the latest at 11:30, but I'm in my bed now by 9:30, watching a movie, farting around on my phone. But you know what I mean? I'm done. So I'm gonna feed the blue up the center a little bit here, and then put a little bit here. Okay. Yeah, I'm usually, is anybody like a reformed night owl that maybe you haven't been staying up as late as you used to? I am a reformed night owl. I can't do it. Can't do it. I'm just freaking tired all the time. So that's my story. And I'm sticking to it. I'm going to put a few of those little blue dots because I love that color. This is beautiful, the Uncharted Mariner. Thank you, Mr. Holtz. I love it. And I feel like this part of it is done. We're going to go on to the next. You're a night owl. Caffeine does not have the effect on me at all. Right? Yeah, and what's like It's dark at 4:30 here. It starts to get dark. That is just criminal. I think I need to move to Hawaii or something. What do you think? Would you come visit me in Hawaii? I would live in Maui in a heartbeat. I would like to go back. The other thing I was looking at today, because you know, as we do when we're on the social medias, you know what popped up? And I think a lot of it's AI generated. I don't think it's real. But have you seen, and my friends who live in other parts of Canada, is the train that you can take from, I think it's like Toronto to Vancouver, or no, Calgary, somewhere, I don't know, that you can get like the cabin with the bed and the big window. But the picture they showed is like the cabin was absolutely stunning. And I think it's AI generated. I don't think it exists. Because the one I looked at in Canada is something like $10,000 or $14,000 to do that trip. So it's beautiful, dandy, it's beautiful. But the cabin I looked at when I went online to look at it did not have a chandelier hanging, and I think that was AI. I think they faked that part, but I would like to do it at some point in my life. Do you know anyone who's done that trip? Yeah, I'm just wondering. Yes, like 10,000 if you want to have the cabin that has like a little L-shaped sofa and is bigger. But I've seen it. It's beautiful, the Rocky Mountaineer, but does it have like chandeliers? Somebody send me a link. The one I looked at wasn't the Rocky Mountaineer. It was a different one, but I would spend that money. I would save to do that trip. And I would literally not leave my cabin. I would sit in there, read a book, look at the scenery, paint. Oh my goodness. And I would take it all by myself. I believe one first clap. So I'm going to save it. I'll save my $20,000 and go by myself. How many can fit in to split the cost? No, Valerie, you have to have your own cabin. I'm going by myself. Vicky, I was in Canada for the first time this year in October. I love that, Julie. Where were you in Canada? Yes, someone I know did that trip as a tribute to her dad. She went from Ontario to BC. Not sure how much it was. Well, I looked it up. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. My friend went on it for the 2-day. Not sure where she got on. Yeah, I want to do it literally from Toronto. I want to be all by myself with some books, that view, and my art. Do you think that that's bad? Should I be ashamed of myself? I would like it. Okay, so now see, we've created our pattern. So the next step is going to be stencils. So I'm going to go in and do tone on tone. I'm going to pick, what do I have? 4 stencil patterns. 4 stencil patterns. Pick whatever you want. Whatever you want. But I'm going to use this one. This is one of my new ones. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use the tile one. This one isn't new, but I'm going to use the dots and the fans. I love it. It's called self-care. I feel like I really need it, Sharon. I feel like I need a solo vacation somewhere. And that probably sounds terrible, but I am excited because I am going back to Vegas in December with my friend Kari to see Bruno Mars for the 2nd time. It sounds amazing. I'm going to see how Les reacts to this idea. So you put an emoji of the laughing, crying, the train. Can you have a husband who's doing the angry fists? That's when you went to France. I love that, Kristen. I do. I feel like I would like to just go somewhere. I got to figure out where that's going to be. Okay. So I'm going to do the tiles. I'm going to start with the tiles. I went to see Bruno in Vegas in August with Devin, but that's kind of like my solo vacation, but I'm meeting my friends, but I don't have to take my daughter. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I can do whatever the heck I want when I go. So I am very excited about it. I'm going to start with cracked pistachio. And so my idea is not to do a whole block of pattern, but I'm going to build a little pattern because I love one of Vicky's favorite things. When I get excited, I feel I need to refer to myself in 3rd person. One of Vicky's favorite things is layering stencil and ink. Love it. This fan stencil, wait till you see it. I hand drew all of that, and then we made it into the stencil, and I love it. These are, I promise, they're going up on vickyboutin.com this week. There are stamps that I'm going to start using as well, and the dies are going to be here in about 2 weeks. So those are pre-order. If you order the stamps and dies, I won't ship your order until everything is complete, okay? So if you want something right away, you have to do 2 separate orders, or you'll be okay to wait. Whatever you want to do, it's good. They're going to be on my website for a while, and they're only available on vickyboutin.com, these ones, okay? So I'm going to start with cracked pistachio. Get ready for it. Get ready for it. Like when I played with this, I was like, oh my goodness, I love it. So why I like the stencil ideas, I'm going to go in here and layer pigment. Like this is going to deposit some pigment, right? But I'm going to deposit it in a pattern, and I still will see all my pretty underneath it. So look at that. Oh, I love it so much. Do you see that? How pretty is that? What stamps? There's a floral stamp and some alpha stamps. So there is a cap, lowercase, and numbers, and they are to replace thickers. They're all large. They come with the dies, and it is the first set. There's going to be an offset outline set that's going to come with it, and then there's going to be 2 different pattern sets, and it's what I'm going to use for titles, for sentiments. So it's kind of going to be my base alpha set, right? Yes, and it's going to have dies with it as well. So there's a big floral set that'll be amazing for mixed media. And then there are the alpha, number, and a lowercase, but they're going to be the like grandfather, the main set. And I'm going to do add-on sets, so you only have to buy the dies once. So I thought that would be fun because I'm conscious of your money. I don't want you to spend a ton of money on something we're not going to use very often. And then when we're doing these and we need to do a title, we can just grab our dies, do some fun mixed media with our titles, and then die cut them. So I think it'll be fun. Love it! So that one is it's called Tile 1. This will be one of the new stencils that I'll be posting next week. And I will post them individually, and I will do a set with a discount. And then I will update all of the original stencils, the OG ones that I did, so you still can get the grab bags, okay? And just know that the shipping will all be adjusted because I can mail them in an envelope. So if the shipping's normally $18 to the US, it will be reduced, and I'll refund the money when I pack the orders, okay? Okay, you ready for it? I think you're going to be very excited over this stencil. So this is fans, and I'm going to go in with Selvage Patina. I'm going to do this one in Selvage Patina. I freaking love this stencil so much. So Selvaged Patina with fans. So let's deposit some color so you really can get an idea of how pretty this is going to be. It can overlap a little. Just don't ink up a whole pattern. So don't be sad because you don't have these right now. And you're like, why is she using these? We don't have them. Use any stencil. I just want you to try the technique, okay? But let's get something deposited so you can see it. I love it so much. That's fans. Isn't that pretty? I love it. Okay, so I might do a little bit of fans down here too. Right in here. Where did I put this color? It's kind of just here. So maybe I'm just going to continue it in this area. Because this pattern is a little different than my original one. And the plus is, you know, I'm going to be using these all the time. So you'll see lots of techniques with the stencils. But you know, the reason I love stencils and stamps is the art's done for me. I can do beautiful things, right? The art is all done for me. So I am going to use the darkest color, which is the Uncharted Mariner with the polka dots. And then I'll go in with Evergreen Bough. Evergreen Bough with the water rings. So I love this stencil. So this stencil is the OG one. It's not a new one, but there is a new companion stencil to go with this one. Isn't that fun? Can never go wrong with dots. It's a nice layerable pattern. And then let's put some of that up here. Okay. Very pretty. I might put some fans right there. This OG is one of your favorites. And then the new one that goes over it is just an outline. So I love it. It's fun. Super fun. Let me put a little bit of that over here. Which do we use? Salvage patina. Okay. Now I would like to put a couple of water, like color drips on here. So I'm going to put a couple in Uncharted Mariner. Yeah, it is original gangster, but, or for me, I'm just saying OG is the original, like this first set that came out. We don't have to, it doesn't have to, this one isn't so gangster, right? So I want to put some drips on there. I'm going to put that color in cracked pistachio drips. Maybe a few more of those. The higher you hold the paper, the bigger your splat. Cracked pistachio. No, I don't generally use oxide for these techniques, so it is a regular distress. I'm a hot mess. Told you I was this week though, didn't I? This Uncharted Mariner. It just has more pigment load, right? It's just a darker one. I'm gonna go in with, oh, I did it already. Lost track. And then let's just get some of these drips. And then I'm going to heat set this. And we're going to start building our pattern. Put my inks aside. I love this color palette too. I am partial to the cools, but you know I love yellow and pink too. Like I said, if I would leave this to just dry, I'd have a nice dark paint splat. When I heat set it, I'm pushing the pigment and creating a really hard outer line. And because I have zero patience, I'm going to pick up the extra ink. I could keep drying it, but I'm not going to. And the other thing I'm doing with the heat gun is drying the stenciled areas. So when I go to put my gesso down, I am not going to reconstitute that ink that is already reacts with water, which will also react with a wet gesso mix. So I don't want, when I put my gesso down, that my white becomes light blue and green. I want it to stay true. Okay. Remember, Vicki doesn't have patience, so let's just lift the extra ink. You could, if time was not of the essence. See, I find a new spot on my paper towel so I don't deposit that ink back on. Okay. So I'm just going to pick that up. I love the dark. I just don't have the time to wait for it all to dry. Okay. So, new spot. Eek. So what's funny is the one ink that is reacts a little differently is the cracked pistachio. The cracked pistachio, when you add water, the colors separate a little bit, right? No, there's no gesso. I'm going to use the gesso. I'm going to paint it to make it white. I want to remove my background after I create my pattern. So I'm going to heat set those quick. Now that I remove the extra pigment. So what my idea is last week we kind of did reverse watercolor by creating a pattern and then layering dark, dark, dark. Did we do that last week or the week before? It was the week before with the leaves. This one, I want to go in now and create a pattern, but I want to remove the pattern around the new design. So I'm going to create circles, right? I'm going to go in, and I just went in with circles because I felt like everyone could do this at home. Everyone will have a cup, right? Or something that you can do. I'm going to line the rim of the cup with some gesso so I have kind of a white line. You could go in with ink, like a light ink color if you wanted to. If you have a white ink, you could use that, but I'm just going to use what I have so I don't have to pull something new out. And I'm going to create a pattern that kind of look like bubbles, and I'm going to paint around it with gesso. Now, here's your important part. You want to layer your gesso. Don't put it on thick. It's going to be like a whitewash coat. You're going to dry that coat and put another coat on top of it. You cannot layer wet on wet, especially with something that is a heavier body, because when you go and layer wet on top of a wet layer, do you ever notice you lift that paint, right? You'll lift the paint, and I want to really be able to build the white. So I'm going to go in now, take my cup, and I'm going to line the edge with gesso. So I'm going to clean my little plastic thing here so that my cleanup is minimal if I keep all my gesso right on here. But I don't want any pigment on here because I want the gesso to remain white. So we'll get a clean wipe because I can't really tell when I'm using one that has all that blue on it already, okay? So I have my gesso. So friends, say you're like, but I want to kind of do flowers on here. So I would take your flowers, I would create some masks, and you could layer a whole floral up here or leaves. I would hand draw on here. I just think that'll put you over the edge. Do you want me to I could hand draw leaves on here and vines and paint around it, but I don't feel like everybody maybe is ready for that. So I think I'm going to do this, like something that everyone could manage. See how I talk through it, and then I'm going to do my OG, the original idea anyway. So I'm going to put some gesso down on here. I'm just picking it up with my paintbrush. I'm all right with that. So you can do two things. You could make like a little ring, put some water in it so it's not too thick, and then dip your cup in it, or you could paint the rim of your cup. Okay? So I say yes to the cup too, Julie, because I feel like everybody hopefully has one, right? So now start deciding how you want to layer your pattern. You want to leave, don't put too many circles because the effect will get lost if you don't deposit about 50% of open art area and 50% of white. Okay, so I'm going to start right here. I'm going to pick sections I kind of like on my background. So I only need I'm creating a rough outline of what I'm going to paint around. Okay, so let's go up here. Where else do I want one? How about right in this blue with all those kind of water marking? I'll do one there too. Boop. Okay. Maybe in this green right here. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is not, we're not aiming for perfection here. One right here with the fans. almost a double one right there. Do one off the page. So maybe right here off the top of the page, I think will be pretty. Maybe one off the side of the page right here. Okay, maybe one right here. So I have set up my pattern. We're not aiming for perfection. This could be just your tester sheet. You might never make anything out of this. This might literally be for mental health and play, right? We are artists. We do not have to have a purpose for anything we do. We can do it just for fun, okay? I'm giving you permission to make art just for fun. I'm just beefing up my outlines so I can see them. I'm going to do one more off the bottom here. I love it. Okay, we're going to paint now. Any questions? Besides gesso, what could you use? White acrylic paint. Has to be opaque, right? And I'm going to clean my cup because I use this all the time. So if I clean it, it'll be ready for the next time I want to do something, okay? I have two brushes I'm going to use tonight. I'm going to use my round brush. I'm going to clean it up a bit because I did make a mess. And that's what I'm going to use for the detail, like around the circles. And then to fill the space in a little faster, I have a flat brush as well, which is a 3/4 inch flat, okay? But I wouldn't even really water down your acrylic just yet. So I'm gonna go in here now. Here's your biggest thing, friends. You want to, don't overwork this ink too much. Deposit the gesso, move on, let that layer dry. What I'm trying to do right now is seal the bottom layer around the circles. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start just brushing on some gesso. I'm not going to overwork the area. I just want to deposit my gesso. And I'm really going to focus on to start around the circles. So follow the pattern as best you can. Don't overwork, don't brush, stroke and stroke and stroke around the outside of the circles, because what you'll do is you'll start to reconstitute your ink. We don't want that, because then you won't have white gesso. You're going to have a whole bunch of blue and green. So what we're doing is just depositing that white first color wash. It's like a white wash. We will come in and build the whiteness after that bottom layer dries, because then it means the ink is sealed. So see what I'm doing? It's very light. This first layer is very light, just sealing this, okay? So does anybody have the question of like, well, why wouldn't you just like create the pattern and stamp and stencil inside? It's almost impossible to create such an intricate pattern in a small scale. So if you create that whole big area and then pick what you want to highlight, it's going to be fun. So this is going to take a little bit because we just have to deposit our first kind of skim coat covering up that pattern. This could be butterflies later down the road. Once you do the technique, your possibilities are endless. So just make sure your paintbrush still looks white, that you have not picked up the distress color, okay? Don't go over the same area multiple times because you cannot layer on wet. This has to be dry before we can put the next layer of gesso down. So what I'm doing now is just putting that layer that's going to kind of create a barrier between the ink and my layers of gesso, okay? Oops, I went in my circle a little bit, but it's forgiving. I just wiped it with my finger. My brush is fairly dry. It's not wet. I did not put any more water, and you'll see that ink is going to come through and bleed in through the white. But it's okay, because we're going to be able, as we go and do our next layer, we'll work on that. Question, can you explain what gesso is? I have never heard of it before until I started watching you. It's actually a primer. Gesso, the purpose of it is to prep a canvas, because back in the day, a canvas could be animal skin that's stretched, right? So you want to have a surface that is all the same color and texture. So you would put a layer of gesso down to prime, and then you'd paint on top of it. So the masters would then paint on top of it, or artists would paint on top of it. Back in the day, it was made out of horse skin, rabbit skin, boiled down, and whatever they put in it to make gesso. Now it is like acrylic based, but it is to prime. I'm using it here just for the opacity and that it dries matte, so that I can start to create that white layer, and I can hide all the pattern. I'm okay if some of it on the outer edges kind of sneaks through, but yes, that is what gesso does. So it's literally to prime, but I use it to resist, because it will resist other mediums. But you don't have to use Vicky Bouton gesso. You can get all different kinds of gesso. Like I probably have 4 different kinds of gesso. But when my mixed media collection first came out with American Crafts, and they're like, well, what SKUs can we add? Like, what do you want to add? And I'm like, well, gesso is a good, like, basic medium. So when we did our gold and our silver texture paste and the neon texture paste, one of the other things was gesso and multi-medium, the matte multi-medium, which is clear. So it can almost be like a clear gesso, but there is such a thing as clear gesso, black gesso. Some gesso is more fluid, meaning like you could almost get it in a paint bottle. Some will have the consistency of, like, this is, I'd say, it's a heavier body. Like, see, it's not gonna drip off my, and I like a little water because I find it's hard. I don't want a ton of texture just yet for my first layer, but it's not dripping off my brush, okay? And then you're just going to go in here and deposit around your circles. I'm just trying to put my first layer on, and then I will heat set this a little, and then we can go in and put another layer of white on top. So for me, if you're like, well, why would I find this so relaxing. Like, I had a rough week. Said, emotionally rough week, and work-wise just rough week, just dealing with life. And I find sitting and doing this, if you just found me somehow, maybe you're just kind of hanging out on YouTube tonight. I don't know how this happens. Like, for anybody who's found me for the first time, how did you come across me? Did it just pop into your feed? I don't really know how that works. If you're not looking for somebody on YouTube, how it just kind of pops up, or maybe you looked at somebody else's video this week and they thought, well, if you like that video, you might like Vicky's video. So I find that I don't feel this art has to be purpose driven, meaning I don't have to make this background and then make it into a scrapbook page or a card. I could make this background just for the process and what I get out of this mentally. Art does not have to have a purpose. You can just make it literally for what you get, I guess, the value you get out of just sitting and creating something. I think that post-COVID, people have not been doing things for themselves as much. They're got right back into what we learned by the world shutting down, right? Where we're like, wow, I've been moving too fast. I didn't realize that, I wasn't doing much for myself. And everybody started doing crafting, making bread, doing all the things. And then guess what? Life has started going back to the way it was. And we are not doing anything for ourselves anymore. You're not reading the books you were reading because maybe you just don't have time. So what I hope Friday nights do for you is you don't have to think about it. You just collect some of the tools that I use, and then I will guide you through what we're doing. And you can just come and do it for fun. I'm going to clean my brush. I'm not reading because I was painting. I heard about you on Tim Holtz Live. I love Tim. I found you last week because YouTube flashed across the top of my, between you were live. So this week, they gave me a 30-minute heads up. Yeah, well, I have to be better about it. Like, I should have these posted at least a day before, but I actually lived some life this week, which I don't always, right? So I wasn't the best, I haven't been, to be honest with you. I'd say lately, if you're new here, I lost my mom, who I was very close with this summer, rather suddenly. And it kind of threw me for a loop, right? It's hard. Losing, I think, a parent is hard. I don't know in life what replaces that relationship. And not everybody has a great relationship with their parent, right? So it can be a lot of things. For some could lose a parent and it can be traumatic just for lots of reasons. For me, it's hard because my mom was my best friend, you know what I mean? And no one, I don't know, well, I can't say that because I know that's not the case for everybody, right? Not everybody has a great relationship with their parents, but for me, already being a creative, right-brained, I lack focus sometimes on the things I should be focusing on, if you know what I mean. If you are similar to that, I'm not lazy. I'm always doing stuff, but sometimes I'm not focused on the right things, right? Like I am on social media pretending I don't have to do things in life, you know? Like I certainly never just sitting around doing nothing, but sometimes I'm like, well, Vicky, that was a total waste of time. But I feel for me, social media can mean I can ignore the stuff I don't want to focus on, right? Like if you're feeling stressed or a little overwhelmed, that it can be a very bad thing. Hello, Marlo, my BFF. How are you, friend? So I talked about this last week, and one of those things I didn't do that I was supposed to do was post, because I saw Marlo and I met her in person on one of my cruises, is if you visit cruiseandcrop.com, I teach on scrapbooking cruises. And we have one this summer going to, where are we going? Kari, are you still here? I think Norway. I think that's where that one's going to. Remember, Vicky can't focus on today, let alone July of next year. So they are filling up some of our cabins spaces. So if it's something you're interested in, I would recommend you sign up sooner rather than later. It is, for the most part, a refundable fee. And if you decide you can't go, you can always get, I think, everything but a portion of some of it back. I don't really know what all of the rules are with that. But it's going to be fun. We're going to have really fun time. And anyone who's going to Panama with me, I will, once I get through the instructions for the holiday event, I will be opening up the group, and I have all of the beautiful kit products, and I'll be sharing that with you guys if you're out there and you're going to Panama with me for 11 days, the Panama Canal and Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. I will be posting details about that soon. We are using some fun products from 49 a Market. And it is a beautiful kit, and it's a lot. I put a lot of freaking stuff in that one. I have a problem. So this takes a little while, friends. I am not mad about it though. And we'll dry that first layer because you'll see some of it. Did you find that you painted it and the color's coming through still? It will eat through some of the gesso. So you just have to get your layer on there, dry it, and then we can build the layer on top. This one I did not do a great job with outlining the circle up here. So I have to try to figure out if I can paint a circle without a guide. You know what I'm talking about? Sorry, I'm missing. Is Norway sold out? It is not, Heather. So that's what I'm saying is you need to, it's one of those that sooner rather than later. Because the ship is selling out. So Royal Caribbean is taking some of our rooms back, the rooms that have not filled, because it's selling out. This is, people tell me that this cruise is up there with Alaska. Like it's one of the ones, if you're going to cruise somewhere, you want to do the Norway cruise. So we picked it because of that reason, that we had a couple of my teacher friends that come on these cruises and do my in-person events. We're like, can we do this one? And I'm like, sure. If this is the one you want to do, sure, I'll do Norway. So that's why we picked Norway. And people say it's absolutely amazing. It's going to be amazing. So that one is in July of next year. And we're working on my calendar. I'm working on it. I really want to do a land tour in Italy with Jim West, because I did one a number of years ago and I feel like we need to do another one in 2026. And then a Caribbean cruise. I can't wait for Panama cruise. It'll be my first time in the States and my first Vicky cruise. And if things go right, my first time in Canada, hoping to see Niagara Falls from the Canadian side. Definitely, that's the side you want to see it from. The view is just better on this side. And this area is set up a little bit more for tourism than the US side is not super pretty. Sorry, friends. But it's not. And I find it used to be better, but now it's like a lot of the businesses are not open on that side of the bridge. So you definitely want your passport if you're coming this far and you want to come to the Canadian side. This one is turning out even better than my first one. And that's really how this art works, isn't it? I have to fix this circle because I will not, it'll be a funky one if I don't put that on here. Anybody doing this with me, friends? Is anyone playing along? It's almost like our paint by numbers kind of version of Friday Night Live, right? See, Valerie lives on the US side. It is not pretty. It's just not. Actually, Valerie and I were there just a little while ago. Who did we go see, Valerie? What group did we go see? I don't even know. She was going to a concert at the casino in Niagara Falls. And I'm like, I'll come with you. And I can't remember who it was. I don't remember who we went to see. It was fun. The company was awesome. But I don't remember who it was. I think I did that. Okay. So almost done. Like I said, I'm going slower with this one than my original one. I made kind of a mess just so I could have a sample to show you guys. But this one I'm taking my time. I'm going to dry this top layer, or this first layer of gesso, and then we can build the white. The stylistics, yeah. It was fun. the best was one of the guys in the group was looking for a date that night. Because he was telling everybody he was single and he took his little blue pill. It's hilarious. I'm like, okay, I guess after all these years on the road, you're not messing around. You just put it right out there. And you know, because when I went, Valerie already had her ticket because she's like me. She wanted to go. She was going to go by herself. And we didn't even sit together. Right? We went. We could see each other. We waved. But it was fun. Very fun night. Yeah, I hope you get to try this too, Louisa. So it's a fun one. And like I said, so tell me what color palettes, if you guys are playing along, what color palettes did you use? And for my American friends, are you all ready for Thanksgiving next week? And can we talk about why Black Friday started today? Can somebody explain that to me? I would like to understand why Black Friday sales started today. And I would also like to understand drops. Devin wanted workout clothes and I had to do a drop. Like you had to sit there and wait till the sale started and then you got on there and you couldn't get anything. It was all sold out. Okay, I'm going to dry this and do my next layer. Hi, athlete.
Just wanted to make sure everyone knew I was still alive.
Rich is still alive. How was tennis tonight?
Not that good, but I'm playing tomorrow.
You're playing tomorrow? Because I'm writing instructions, yeah.
Now I'm going to the hot tub.
You're going for a hot tub. I got in the hot tub for the first time this week, friends. And I enjoyed it. I understand why Rich loves the hot tub. I got in the hot tub. Devin and I went out there. He's like, oh, how long were you in there? I'm like, 10 minutes. I was done. Everybody's saying, hey, sidecar. Hi, athlete. He had to come see his fans. But he's gone now. Because that dude loves that hot tub. He is in that stinking hot tub all the time. Every day. But I said, you need to stop hanging your wet towels on my kitchen chairs. Go throw it in the dryer or something, because that drives me crazy. Okay, so now the idea is to dry this first layer so I can go and put more white on here. And it will flatten out as the moisture leaves, okay? Don't bake it like a cookie. So now I'm going to look at it, make sure nothing's shiny, because then it's dry enough for me to go in. I'm going to go in with my bigger brush now, and I'm going to pull in some of this white. Okay. Don't make it too watery. If it's too watery, you're going to lift the bottom layer. So now watch what happens. Again, not too many brush strokes, but start depositing some white. Don't overwork the areas because this isn't dry and you're going to end up lifting it. But see what happens is I really am bringing the white to the top now because my bottom layer of gesso is somewhat dry. And now I can really start to section out those circles. And the only reason I went in with the bigger brush is I can just deposit more gesso. So if you have white acrylic paint, it will work. You might just need to add a few more layers. And what you run into a problem is it's not a canvas. We're using a piece of paper. And that piece of paper will only hold so much moisture before it starts to really buckle. So go in there, just quickly deposit, and then we're going to dry that layer. So we're just building the white. And then I'll go in with my small brush again after I start to see how it's really now isolating those circles. it. Right? Isolating the circles. I don't need an excuse to shop. What's that? Well, when the finish wears off, new furniture for you. What happened? I'm missing all of it. I bought lots of Vicky Bouton products unexpectedly yesterday at a Black Friday sale at Joann's. I love that. Yes, but husbands can also expedite the process doing what they do. Yeah, I need a new kitchen. So do you guys get, like, I don't know, you'll open one ad on the Facebooks or the Instagrams, and then that, like, you'll get lots of ads that depict whatever that is that you opened. So saying that is, I open an ad for and maybe you guys get this ad too. Maybe they're just spending a lot of ad dollars and everybody's getting these ads, but the one with the kitchen table that is a console table. So the benches all expand into a big bench, and then the table expands to sit like over 10 people. Have you guys been getting that ad? So now I want that. I want that. I want that, what the ad showed. They're doing their job, because what they're showing me, Vicky wants to buy. I want that table, because we don't have a big dining room table. And now I have kids that are older, right, with significant others. And it would be nice for all of us to sit together. And we have to pull lots of tables around our round table. But they're doing a good job. They're really knowing how to target Vicky Bouton with ads that make me want to buy the things. The other thing I saw today was a vacuum cleaner for your car, that it was a good gift for men. And I'm like, it's a good gift for women. It's anybody who drives a car. A little vacuum cleaner, so when you spill food or you have like lots of rice in your console, because that's all they kept showing, how it picked up rice. And I'm like, who's spilling all this rice in their car? I don't know, but I keep getting these ads for all this stuff, and then I'm like, I wonder if it's really any good. Like, is this a good product? Or try to go read the comments, right? Okay, I'm going to give it a blast and go in again. I don't know. You know, Natalie, we're still on the fence. Like, do we stay in this house? Do we sell the house? I really would like to sell the house and buy a smaller one floor. I just need to wait for the interest rates to level out, and I would really like to move. I feel like I have one more move in me. So it's either move or renovate this house, because we've been in it for long enough now that it needs some stuff. But I really would rather just move. So do you know what I'm talking about? That folding table? Yeah, who's having a wedding in a car? So you know what I'm talking about, Jean? I wonder if it's the same brand. But I want that table. And they have a new one that is round. The table's round. It's beautiful. It's like a round table, so when you pull it out with the leaves, it is just kind of like the ends are curved. So let's go in with a small brush now. Let's get some detail stuff in here, and we're almost done with the gesso. I'm not looking for completely white. I'm okay if hints of this still shine through, but I do want enough white that when we go into put our accent color, whatever you're going to choose, it has something to sit on. And then I'm going to show you something that I did as well, because I realized I needed to beef up these circles because they kind of blend a little bit. Well, I'm glad somebody out there knows the table I'm talking about. The renovations are no fun. I know. I just want to build a new house. That's what I want. I just want to go and build a new house, so we can put everything that we want in it, and that it is, you know, because I think sometimes the house you're living in needs to change for how your life starts to change, right? Like when the kids eventually leave here, if they ever leave my house, because they might not, because I wouldn't leave. They've got it made in the shade. I got to start making it where they don't want to live here anymore because maybe they have to do stuff. I've got to make it so they want to leave because they're like, wow, like no one's doing my laundry anymore. Yeah, and don't judge me because I'm sure some of you are out there going, Vicky, you got to stop doing that stuff for them. I don't know. I like it. I can complain about it, but I do like it. I like having them here. I'm one of those, I don't care if they ever leave. Until they start having babies, because the babies can come stay here, but I don't want to do full-time parenting again. I've done that once. But I will be the best grandma. But I don't think I want to do it all over again. You know what I mean? I'm done with that. But I will definitely like them to come visit and stay with grandma in 20 years. Because you know I am only 25. Okay. So this takes a little longer tonight just to get the effect, but I love it. Okay, a little bit down here because these dark, or the navy ones, like the darker ones, need a little bit more beefing up. Leave a hint because it looks very cool. So how many of you are doing this tonight? And what was your color palette? You guys told me, but I'm not looking. I get to refinish my house my way. Yet, Irene, there, when you want to look at like the silver lining of all of this, right? The golden nugget out of all of it is that, right? Is like nobody wants to go through a fire and lose your belongings and the stress of all of it. But if we want to look for the positive in that, is you get to pick all the things again. So we will think the positive, right? Because there's nothing you can do about that now. It's all happened and done. But we will look at, and you and Chrissy are safe. So we'll just look at the positive, right? That now you get to redesign and pick all of the things. And that can be fun, right? Because not everybody would have that in your budget, right, to do. And now out of tragedy comes some silver lining. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, this corner, I love this. Pretty, right? So you picked raspberry, wilted violet, and fossilized amber. I love that, Stella. And what is your accent color going to be around the outside? Like when you go to do, because I'm going to show you. So for my process, right, when I did this the first time, I had no intention of doing anything other than the gesso. This was going to be it. But what I found was they kind of get lost a little bit, right? They were lost. It wasn't as contrasty. So I'll show you how I went about building interest in a minute. So that dark is really coming through to the top. We're going to try to fight that a little bit, but it won't matter in a minute. Okay, let's give it a dry. Yeah, sounds very pretty. That I love those colors together. You hate moving more? I just want to start fresh. I want, this house suited our needs when we did it, but now I don't want 2 floors. That's the biggest thing. I don't want a 2-floor house. I want a single floor. And if I could do it, I want a she shed. Like I'd like to move my business back here, just not in my house. Does that make sense? So we're going to dry this so we can put some ink on top of it. Just make sure it's dry, friends. If you put really thick layers on, you won't want to do this next step, the next 2 steps right away. You're going to want to wait, okay? Don't burn the paper, Vicky. See, I'm trying to do 2 things at once. Just keep moving the heat gun. Yeah, we've moved. This is, I don't know, since Rich and I have been together. 1, 2, 3. This is our 4th domicile, place we've lived together in our, what is it, 25 years? 26 we've been married? I don't even know. I said to him, it was our anniversary, and it was the week of our anniversary. And I said, oh, it's our anniversary this week. I don't know if everybody's like that, but now we've been married for so long. I'm like, oh, by the way, happy anniversary. Okay. Let it go. Move on to the next step, Vicky. Because you could just keep kind of messing around here. Let's put one more layer down here because that is still very blue. I really love this. And you could leave it. This could be it. Like any of these techniques we do. You can stop at any stage. I always will finish this, but I might come and redo it again and stop midway, like at step 2. Because I'm like, oh, I love that. Just with the stencils and the dies, I might stop at step 2. But when I'm in the process, because it's just a piece of paper in our time, I will always just do the full thing. Like at least once. Got to do the full thing at least once. Okay. One last dry. A heat gun and the paintbrush in the other, right? Oh, Vicky, have you ever tried encaustic painting? Yes, I would love to with the beeswax. My cousin's daughter, what would that make her? My second cousin? Went to art school, and she does a lot of encaustic. And there's faux. I think we could have a lot of fun doing some faux encaustic. I have to remember that. That needs to be one of our techniques. We'll do some faux encaustic. But I absolutely love the look of encaustic art. I would like to do that. But we could get our melting pots out and our UD and some different embossing powders, and we could fake it. We could do some faux encaustic, right? If you're not sure, just look that up. But encaustic is when the art is like in layers of beeswax usually. So yes, I would love to do that. Okay, step away. Your cousin's daughter is your first cousin once removed, or second cousin, right? I think that's what we say here, second cousin. She does beautiful, and she used to do workshops, and I really wanted to take one and just never got around to it. I lied. I have to do one more layer right between these two. One more, because I did not do much in there and in here. Very good. So it's my cousin's daughter. So my first cousin's daughter. So it's my second cousin, right? I'm not good with this family tree stuff. Are the Robins still here? I think one Robin was here, right? It's family, yes. So my cousin. I'll just call her my cousin. Amber. She is an amazing artist. Fine artist, right? Went to school for art. Does her art full time. Now she does a lot of like photo art, like with Polaroids and some really cool stuff. Yeah, we call it second cousin here. I'm sure I do. And it might just be a Canada thing. I love this. Okay, so feels pretty dry. I'm going to clean up my mess here because now I want to do some ink. Okay, so I'm going to put this away. Could you keep layering this? You sure could. And honestly, if you left it, if you're like, this is all I'm going to do with this tonight, and you came back tomorrow and did one more coat, you'd have more coverage because that gesso would be completely dry, right? So let's just do a wipe. Remember, when you're wiping wet mediums, especially ones that have a little bit more, hi Robin. Here's one of my raw buttons. Yay! You went to an art show called Christmas Made in the South. Aw, thank you, Robin. So did you buy anything? What did they have there? For Hispanic people, once you're related to your cousin, they are all cousins. I love it. And are some like that aren't even related your cousins too? I love that. But you know how I feel about my Spanish speaking friends. I really feel like at some point in one of my lifetimes I was, because there is just such a connection. Like my first real deep dive was when I went to Puerto Rico for the first time, and I just felt like at home. One day I need to learn how to speak Spanish. I feel like it needs to happen. I would like to fluently speak Spanish. Okay. Boop. All right. So kind of clean enough, right? Clean enough. So now the idea. So when I looked at this, right, and when you make art, I'm going to look and go, this is really pretty. I really love it. But I need some more contrast. So I want to build a little shadow in here. So what I'm not going to introduce a new color. I'm just going to take my ink blending tool and I'm going to beef some of these circles up. So I'm going to pick the color that I want to go in. So say for this one, maybe there's that little bit of the turquoisey color. So maybe instead of going in with cracked pistachio, which is what's dominant there, I don't want to take away my pattern. So I'm going to go in with selvage patina, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here now. So I'm going to go in with selvage patina, and in a circular motion, I'm just going to build up a little bit of depth in my circle. Okay. So I'm going to go in here now and just build a little bit of blue. Can I go onto my white a little bit? Yes. Go onto the gesso even a little bit. But now, do you see how I am accentuating the circle? This one is light, so you're not going to see it as much, but just trust me. So I can go into my gesso a little bit too. Oh, look at, I got like a hint of the blue in there. Where else do I want to use that color? Maybe on this one. So I'm going to go in kind of a circular motion. Now my circle just popped on this side where it wasn't really showing. See, because there's a lot of white in my backgrounds. So just beef up my circle. See it kind of pop now? Did you say you bought anything, Robin? Because I asked the question. Of course I did. I bought something for you. No way! I love gifts. Thank you, friend. That is very thoughtful. So the Robins found me during COVID and sent me one of the nicest little care packages with all these things that were very Savannah, right? Very Savannah. And that was like an awesome thing. Awesome thing. You know, I was saying, a lot of you guys sent me cards when my mom passed, and I haven't opened them. I'm not ready emotionally. Is that weird? I have a whole stack of sympathy cards, and I haven't opened them because I'm not ready. I have to mentally be ready to cry a lot. So they're still sitting beside her urn. Because I have my mom is on my mantle, and I like her there. I say hi to her. I know for some people would be like weirded out by that, but I really like having her here. And the whole stack of cards is on the mantle with her, and I'm like, I'll get there. I'll get there. Okay, so I just went in now with some cracked pistachio. Right? We're beefing up that circle a little bit. You can stay inside the circle too. You don't have to do the whole circle. You can do part of the circle. And now let's get in with some more blue. I need something a little bluer. I don't want, there's a lot of green going on already. So I am not going to add any ink to this Uncharted Mariner. I'm just going to use what's already on the blending tool just because it's so dark. It's so dark. If I add pigment on here, it's going to be too dark. I want just a light. Right? So I won't go too crazy with this one. You can also start to see a little bit of the texture in your circles. Okay, love that, right? Lots of fun. So we can blend a little bit more because the other thing I want, I lied. I'm going to go in a little bit on this one and put some more dark in here. Maybe here, a little bit there. Don't go too crazy with this. And then the other thing we can do, if you want, depends how dark you got, is I can just break up so I don't have just a whole circle of pigment with a little bit of water marking. Not a ton, I'm really controlling, but right now it's a lot of solid ink, and that's not my jam. So I can just put some little watermarks, and I'll pick it up with a paper towel, and that adds another layer of interest. Right? Look at pretty. Now I didn't really want it all in the outside part, so I will go in after I do this. I'm going to dry it, and I'll go around the outer edge again with the ink. And you could leave this. This could be it. Very subtle, very pretty, kind of has like a plastered look on here. Not like plastered like you drank a bottle of tequila. Plaster like you troweled plaster on your page. Doesn't look drunk. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because I don't want that full white on the outer edge. I like the full white inside my circle, but I don't want it on the outer edge. Now, should I go in with pink as my accent color? Do you want to see that? Or should I go in, see, I'm going to take that white away a little bit on the outer edge. It still looks like a dot, but it's not that big white. Okay. Love it. Can tone that down a little bit. So did we say pink? Pink. So go back in like you did. Vicky, you will find the right time, no rush. I feel that, like, I really feel like you got to do what works for you. I don't think there's any hard, fast rules. Like, what works for you doesn't necessarily work for everybody else, right? So now when I did this on my original, like, see, they look a little different already. There's a lot more white, which I kind of am digging, where I had a lot more pigment on this one. But I liked the contrast of the pink. So I went in with picked raspberry. You can go in with yellow, but I'm going to tell you something. If you want to do where you're going to lift some of the pattern off with a script or text stencil, the pigment needs to be a little bit darker, right? Gray would be great. Did you say no pink, please? You don't want pink? So you could pick whatever you want, right? You could go in with gray. I like the contrast of the pink. So if I don't go in with pink, I have to go in with something. I don't want to go in with the same color that's on here. Like, so not blues and greens. So I could go in with gray, but it has to be a darker gray, but you won't get the contrast. I really feel like it needs to be pink or orange, purple, but pink is my thing. I'm going in with pink. I'm going to go in with pink, friends. What would you use to contrast purple? Orange, dark blue. You could go in if you want to keep it still in the same. Green could be beautiful, like a dark green. If I go in with orange, okay, we can do orange. Orange will work. And I have a pink one. I can carry the pink over here for you, Irene, and do some more on here. But sure, let's go in with an orange. But I don't know if it's going to be rainbow bright orange. I might go in with earthy orange. I might do an earthy orange, like Rusty Hinge. Let's look. Let's pick some options. Like, I don't want spice marmalade. I don't want persimmon. Ooh, crackling campfire could be really fun. But look at Rusty Hinge. It's going to be earthier, but look. Let's do Rusty Hinge. I never use this color. So look, you're making me go outside my normal comfort zone. But I can do it because it's only a piece of paper, my time, and then I'll show you the pink on this one. I'll come and do the pink over here. Let's go in with Rusty Hinge. Oh my gosh, this is scary for me, friends. This is scary for me. So I'm gonna load this up, but I'm not gonna go directly on here because it's gonna be dark. So I'm gonna take some of that pigment off. I'm gonna get it into my foam, but it's gonna be pretty. That's gonna be pretty, okay? Less is more. I can always add, but I can't take away. So I wanna get in here and remember that I'm not covering everything either. You wanna kind of blend this out, okay? But let me show you. So it is going on to my gesso now. And I don't want everything to be orange. I still want to see some of that white and kind of fade it out. And build it a little bit. And it's okay if it looks messy. You just don't want like a big polka dot of color. Look at, it's kind of fun, right? So things you can do. You can take a baby wipe, but you don't want a really wet. You want it just partially, like it's been sitting out for a while. And you can start to blend your edges out and pick up some of your texture too. So you have your blending tool. But the other thing we're going to do is take our stamp and I'm going to lift this color. So I'm going to just put water on here. So thin mist of water, but see how it's kind of pooling in there? I don't want that. I'm going to tap that into my paper towel. So it's still wet. But it's not going to pool into where I just worked. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to stamp clean water, wipe your stamp so you're not depositing, and I'm going to pick up the ink in some of that text. So see what just happened there? Because what does Distress Oxide do? It resists the Distress ink. So look what I just did. I totally picked up a pattern. This is fun. Do you like this one, friends? I like this one. So again, I don't want full ink, so taking some of that off. And maybe let's work up here. I don't want to work right beside because I'm going to blend it in, right? So let's start depositing some of that ink around my circles. I'm not going right up to the edge because I kind of like the ring that we already created, right? So what do you think? Because I love these Friday nights. Was anybody kind of on the fence going, I don't really know what she's doing with this? What the heck is this crazy lady doing? I am not really getting it. What do you think now? What do you think about me now? Okay, I'm gonna blend some in there. Got to get some in there or it won't make sense. And I don't want it to not look like a circle. So work it in. But do you see, you can feel a little bit of resist with the gesso. Like it's not going to blend super smooth. I love it. Right? So now, biggest thing, you don't want to deposit what you lifted. So make sure you wipe your stamp off. Mist it lightly, but you don't want pools of water. So I'm going to tap the extra into my paper towel. And let's lift right here to start here. Yeah, let's give that a go. I love it so much. I'm going to start fresh because that was a good lift. Oh, that was a good one. What did I do? Water. Tap. Tap. Lift. Lift. Oh my goodness, friends. Lift. See, I deposited there. I cheated and I kept tapping it down. Look at that. Can you see it? So let me show you with heat gun. So you don't want to do this everywhere. I'll do a little bit more here, but you don't want it everywhere. And then I'm going to show you that we can rub some of it off too to create like a little distressed area. I feel like, you know, I feel a little bit like I'm an Italian artist creating like a gessoed surface on like an old mausoleum or something, right? How fun is this? I want to know what you think because like I feel like it's kind of fun. This is a fun one. It's a little bit in here. Lighter. Light is good. You can always add, but you can't take away. Well, you can take away a little bit on this one, this technique, but see what I'm saying? You don't want orange everywhere because then it doesn't, you want to have your layers of art show. So I'm not going to go very dark in here, maybe just a little bit right here. Oh, a little bit there, blend that out a little bit. Okay, look at that. Kind of, I got a lot of pigment on there, but that's okay when we go to lift. Where else do we want some? Maybe a little in here. I love the rusty hinge. Tim would be very proud, I think, of me. Look at Vicky stepping out of her normal comfort zone. I love it. Love it. What do you think, friends? Okay, let's lift, and then let's decide how we're going to finish this. This really popping, though, I have to say. This one, we'll do a little bit of pink over here so you can see the pink option. Put some water on my stamp. Make sure your script is not upside down. And then let's do a little lift. Lift. Clean my stamp because I can see that I'm depositing ink. Because when you lift it and it's wet, right? Well, let's go in here a little bit. Love it. But like, see some out there, it's dark. So let's see. Can I brave that or buff that out a little bit? Sure can. Right? And then you should also be able to, almost when you buff it, you can see some of the texture in the gesso too. So you could go in if you wanted to. I'll test it. Let me test it. I'm going to do a little watermark. Look. Not a lot, but oh yes. See it? Don't go crazy with this. But see somewhere I don't love my blend right there. Let's see what happens if I'm trying to keep it only on the, oh, I love that. Now I'm going to show you something because it is very white. So I am going to go on top of that white now. And some of them I want to not be full white. I don't want that high contrast. You know what I mean? So I didn't load anything onto my brush. I'm just using what's on my sponge already. But then some can be brighter white and some can be darker. But I like that. Okay, not too much because I don't want to eat away all my pretty art, but maybe one up here. You could mask and cover your circles if you don't want it to go in there because it's kind of hard to control where this goes. You could also dry it without lifting the pigment, and then you won't have like a big white, but that scares me because I don't want to blow it out of the white. Love it. But you don't want too many of these, right? What are you seeing? Something lunar? Has a lunar feeling? Yeah, kind of, right? We threw our orange on here. Got some Mars going on. Don't go crazy with the dots. There. It's enough. It's enough. Look how fun is that, friends? I love this, like a lot. Like a lot. I have to say, that was a lot of fun. That was some very rewarding creating. Because this one, the second one, turned out better than what I thought it was going to be, so I want to orangify some of that white because now I have a lot of dots going on here. So I feel like throwing a little bit. You could throw another color on some of those dots if you wanted to. There wasn't much ink on there, so see, I'll just take some of that down. So it's not just a bunch of white dots. Very nice. Leave it alone now. No one to step away. Okay, this is for Irene. Pink. But you notice I did not put as much gesso on here. So you are not, don't have as much white on here as you did on the other one. Okay, take some of that pigment off. Don't go full on. And then we can brush some of the pink in here, which I do love. I do love the pink too, if you want a whole different look. And because some of that blue is showing through, it turns purple in some areas too, right? But I'm not going to get as contrasty as I did on the other one because there's not as much gesso on this one. But let's see our technique with the stamp. Hi, Vicky. There's a lot of Vickies here tonight. I think at least 3 or 4 of us. I love that. You don't see that as often. Love it. Vickies are in the house. You know, the party started. Oh, look how pretty, Irene. Look at the white. Love it. So the only reason I like the script stamp is you want a linear, like I want the linear effect on here because I have circles going everywhere. So I'm going to just beef this up a bit now that it's dried so we can get a little bit more of the text. There. Very nice. Very nice. So we know the reason I started with pink is because that's what I had beside me on the blending tool. And I'm going to do this just kind of snaking up on this one here. I'm not going to do it everywhere because, like I said, there's a lot less gesso on this one. So you're seeing a lot more of the blue and green. It's not as contrasty, if that's a word, contrasty, as the other page I did. But that's enough. I feel like that's enough of the pink. Just beef up where we were already. Very fun, right? What about if you take the ink, you lift? Yeah, you could stamp it somewhere else. I just wouldn't put it on here. You could do it on another page. But yes, I will often do that with this technique, is you can redeposit it. Here. What do you think, Irene? Do you like the pink? What did you think of the rusty hinge? What did you guys think of the rusty hinge? Love it. You love both, just different, right? How can we find the link to the cruise? Just search. I don't know. Are you still here, Natalie? Can you link to the Norway one? cruisingcrop.com. And then when you go on there, the cruise is July of 2026. So you will see it there. But yes, they are going to be opening those up. They might have already, so there'll just be fewer cabins available. And we'll still have great rates. It's just, it's going to fill up. This one might, if you're coming with me, we might have a smaller group you might get to be very up close and personal with me for that trip, right? Because it's the cruise is selling faster than, because a lot of people are like, I haven't even thought about June next year, what I'm doing, or July, what I'm doing for my vacation. So a lot of people haven't booked it. I think it's more than half full, but we're not at our 50. We're not at our 50. So it's going to be fun. I'm going to put a little bit of dots like we did on the other one, just so it's not big blocks of. Oh, how pretty. Very pretty, right? I love it, and know when to walk away. What do you think, guys? There's the two. A lot more green on this one, right? I think more blue. So that is our technique for tonight. I'd have to say I would have put less dots on. If I could go back and change something, I'd have a few less dots. But do you have any questions? Very fun, right? Very fun technique. When I take the camera down, I'll do a closer up of these. I enjoyed it. That was a very therapeutic art making session. I love the orange too, I have to say, Holly Jean, and I would not normally say that. It would not have normally been, but I like the earthiness of it. I am really liking that, right? That's why we should always do or try things we don't normally do, because sometimes we'll be surprised and like the result. So here's a close-up. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. What do you think? I don't know. Is that very focused, or is it blurry for you guys? Sorry. That's blurry. That's a little bit more focused. So you can see, I think, a little bit more that text. Right? And there on the pink. The text. It's a fun one, right? And then if you're doing this more focused for what you would do on a layout, maybe you would just put the circles in one area and leave this area for photos. You could, but you could put little photos all over this. Wouldn't that be fun? Like a little, like 2 by 2, 2.5 by 2.5, a couple of them, and then little clusters and journaling. Because not every layout has to have a bunch of, I hate when I turn the camera on and it's on all my 12 of my chins. Nobody needs to see the gobble gobble getting ready for Thanksgiving for my American friends. But not every layout, if you are a scrapbooker, if you're here because you're a scrapbooker, they don't all have to be 12 by 12 double page layouts, and they don't all have to have 4 by 6, right? Can you repeat the base blues and greens? I use Uncharted Mariner, I use Selvage Patina, Cracked Pistachio, and Evergreen Bough. And then the orange I used was Rusty Hinge, and they are all regular distress, not oxides for mine. But I love this. It's a lot of fun. So thank you very much, guys. I hope that you get a chance to be creative and do something just for you this weekend. And I will not be here next week because I am going on a family vacay for the weekend. Very much looking forward to that. For any of you guys that are doing wrapped in ribbons, I do have a couple of kits left, not very many. I didn't think we'd go through all of them, but I think I have 1 bin of kits left. They won't make it to you in time for the prep, but they'll make it to you, I would think, in time for the class. That's at vickybooten.com if you want to partake in our holiday weekend. And for some of you, I'm going to see you on Wednesday for the prep class. We're going to just cut a couple of papers and we're going to make the one interactive bit. And then if you can't join me live, you will have a solid week and a half to get your homework done. So thank you once again. Access only will go up on Monday for any of my friends looking for access only. And the Disney kits are going to go up next week, and the stamps and stencils. So it will be happening for sure next week. And have a wonderful weekend. Thanks, Natalie, as always, for being my sidekick. And thank you, you guys who joined me live, and if you're watching after the fact, for giving me a little bit of your time. And don't forget, thumbs up the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you soon. It might not be Fridays for the next 2 weeks because we have the holiday event and I'm going away, but I'm going to be ready for my holiday crafting. So watch for something pops up. It might be in the middle of the week that I pop on to tell you my plans for some of the crafting that we're going to do. And there'll be giveaways and lots of fun things. I always celebrate and give back during December. So definitely check out. I'll probably give away a full Wrapped in Ribbons event weekend. So watch for that. And then if you have the kit already, I'll just give you the credit, a gift certificate, and you can buy the next one. So have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you later. Bye, guys. Boop, boop.